Welcome back. Before I go into this video, I want to thank you all for subscribing to the channel. It means a lot to me. Thank you so much. After reading a lot of your comments, I felt compelled to do this video in hopes to answer your questions. A lot of you asked about the new family that moved in, the Millers, and how they felt about moving into the home after what Chris did to Shanann there. My heart and prayers will forever go out to Shanann, Nichol, Bella, Celeste, and their immediate family. I'm open to exploring all possibilities about the case. I never said the Miller home was haunted. I was merely asking the question myself. I understand that this case hits home for many of us, and I hope to answer a lot of your questions in this video. And with all that being said, let's get into it. The Millers bought the house for $60,000 less than asking price. They are a family of 5, husband, wife, 3 children, 2 girls and a little boy. The Millers and realtor posted on Facebook congratulating the purchase of the home and confirming that it was once owned by the Watts family. The Millers then wrote, "We are so thrilled to announce finally closing on our new home. I cannot begin to describe the amount of hard work, emotion, stress, heartache, excitement, and love that went into the purchase of this home." The Millers then went so far as to acknowledge the Watts family and the tragedy by saying, "This is the former home of Shanann, Bella, and Cece Watts. Ever since the story broke about them in the small town of ours, our hearts were unbelievably broken. For a family we never even had the pleasure of meeting. I can remember when people were calling for the house to be torn down, and I could not imagine anything worse. This home was once filled with love and laughter and happy memories. It was the only home those beautiful girls ever knew. They had a mother who loved them endlessly and fiercely. For the last 3 years, we have looked into how to make this home ours, to bring love and light back into the home and the neighborhood. A good friend of mine, who is also a stellar realtor, made that happen. We are forever grateful to her for asking if we would like this home, and if we would like to work with her to make it happen. Without hesitation, we said yes. Our intentions are to bring a happy, loving family back into the home as it deserves and has once served those beautiful souls. We will do everything we can to honor them. We believe Shanann would have wanted her home to be full of light and love, and not for it to be torn down or looked at as a place of darkness and grief. The reason I'm posting this is to ask for your respect." The Millers continue to personalize the post by also saying, "To Shanann, we hope to honor you in this home you once called yours, and to fill it with smiles as you once did. Thank you for making this a peaceful home. Peace and love is all we ever felt since the moment we walked through the door. Because of you, we hope to have you alongside us on this new chapter." Shanann's brother, Frankie, posted on his YouTube page and mentioned conspiracy theory channels are at it again, making up more lies. "It is getting bizarre that those channels continue to make things up." He states that the house did sell to a nice family, to leave the family alone and let them move in peace. There were a handful of you that asked about the dog and where he ended up. Dieter went to Shanann's family in North Carolina to go stay with her mom, dad, and her brother. Here are some old videos as well as new videos with Dieter, a big part of the family who was celebrated every year for his birthday.
Happy birthday, Dieter! Do you want to give him a treat for his birthday? Okay. Let's give him a treat. Sing to him again. You want to finish singing? He wants us to hear you sing one more time. Give it to Dieter for his birthday. Say happy birthday, Dieter. Hey, Jacqueline. Give it to Dieter.
Dieter is a cherished member of the Watts family, bringing the Watts family joy, comfort, and unconditional love. Dieter's impact extended beyond the immediate family. Dieter brought smiles to the faces of friends and neighbors. Always eager to spread his contagious joy, Dieter would often accompany Shanann on walks. Amidst the tragic events that unfolded, Dieter remained a constant source of comfort for the family. His unwavering loyalty provided solace during the darkest moments, offering unconditional love when it was needed the most. Dieter first joined the Watts family when he was just a young pup. Shanann and Chris, along with their daughters Bella and Celeste, instantly fell in love with him. They knew he would bring endless happiness and companionship to their family. The Watts family quickly grew attached to Dieter, providing unwavering love and support. He was always there, wagging his tail, ready to greet them at the door after a long day. Dieter's presence brought a sense of comfort and security to the entire family. Although Dieter's story is tinged with sadness, he reminds us of our own pets and how lucky we are to still have them, and recognizing the impact they have in our lives. Although Dieter is safe in North Carolina with the Rusiks, I'm betting that Dieter is still waiting for one of those girls to walk through that door. There has been an unfortunate wave of criticism and blame aimed at Shanann. Although I can appreciate different opinions and perspectives, there is still a such thing as a right and wrong. Disrespecting a murder victim and family is wrong as f***. Folks are going through her videos, picking her apart, focusing on her every word when she was on her lives, trying to make a sale. Think about it. Whose marriage do you know that's perfect? It's easy to sit there and judge a woman who is no longer with us, whose problems are pretty much over, but couldn't defend herself if she wanted to. Shanann strikes me as the type of person that could probably care less of what people thought of her anyways. People may bring their own personal biases and prejudice into their opinions and judgments. These biases can cloud their perception and lead to unfair criticism. And unfortunately, victim blaming is an all too common occurrence in this case. Let's strive for understanding and compassion and a commitment to prevent such attacks. Since we're all pretending to be psychologists, I'm betting Shanann was a very confident and assertive woman. Social media often portrays an incomplete narrative, focusing on certain aspects of a person's life that doesn't even exist sometimes. I found it crucial to analyze the reasons behind this criticism, but I also found it equally important to approach this topic with empathy and understanding, because at the end of the day, we have to remember Shanannwatts was a victim of a heinous crime, and her family continues to grieve her loss. All they have left now are these videos. For people to constantly post videos directing negative attention to a victim, knowing that the family is still trying to cope with this tragedy, having to deal with the lies, because none of it's true. A clash between Shanann and Cindy became a divide between the public. I can't help but to question humanity and the direction we're headed. When a grieving family can beg us to stop attacking a loved one who has passed on, and we continue to do so, I think we all deserve empathy and respect when discussing tragic events. Instead of participating in or perpetuating negative comments towards a victim no longer with us, it's more productive and compassionate to engage in healthy discussions. The criticism towards Shanannwatts is a complex matter, influenced by various factors, searching for reasons that may have provoked or deserved the tragic outcome. This isn't about picking a side. All families have their issues from time to time. It's about what's right and wrong. Not even executed murderers get attacked after death the way Shanann has been. I thought about putting some on blast for talking about her, but I had to remind myself, at the end of the day, people have a right to their own opinion. Besides, it will have zero impact on these people. If the Rusiks couldn't shame them on national TV, I know I sure in the hell can't. I tried to find what it was about Shanann's personality that makes them call her an abuser, or a narcissist, or a bad parent, or controlling. I just don't see it. Again, I'm basing this off of the same videos that they claim to notice it in. What I do know is that when we know that the camera is on us, we sometimes come off a certain way, or people assume things that don't exist. While on a jail visit with Chris, even Chris cut his mom and sister off during a conversation on a visit to acknowledge that Shanann was a wonderful woman, after they were repeatedly stating, "We know how she was," as if Chris had a right to end the lives of his wife and kids just because his mother and Shanann didn't get along. Shanann stood up for herself, and she wasn't gonna let Cindy walk all over her. And she probably stood up for Chris's weak ass, and Cindy didn't like it. Cindy Watts treated Chris like a martyr after taking the life of his wife and kids. It's too bad that Chris has never been to jail before this incident. And I only say that because if Chris had experienced having his freedom taken, he may have thought twice about his actions. I know for a fact he has had many rude awakenings and reality checks since his incarceration. It gets very lonely in there. Inmates aren't your friends, especially when the state has to put you in protected custody due to the nature of your crimes. People do adapt though and turn to religion, but that only does so much for a person. Life as he knows it is over. The moment the officer slapped cuffs on him, he became a maximum security inmate. Dodge is an old, cold prison. Winters are rough. Lifers get to watch other inmates come and go. Chriswatts is still young, and he's only 5 years in. I can already see how prison is taking its toll on him. Inmates lose who they once were. After a while, loved ones visit less mail or none at all, and phone calls get rejected. You can't exercise like you once could. The food is the lowest quality, so you begin to develop health issues. And if you're there long enough, your teeth start going to hell from all the commissary. Life will go on without you. Chris will have the rest of his life to reflect on his crimes. The years will not be kind to him. I still think there'll be a point in time when he decides to end it. That is, if someone doesn't do it for him first.
I have 2 going back to Target because the girls were like, "What are those for?" I had to tell them. Tovo's a surprise, and they wanted to know what the surprise was.
They found those children in tanks that were nearly full. And as I have learned,
I couldn't imagine how hard it must have been to be involved in the recovery of their bodies. The Denver Post did an article on this topic. Most of them are suffering mental health issues. It's not like we can unsee something. Once our eyes are laid upon an image, it's burned into our memories forever. Shortly after Chris Watts confessed, lead detective Dave Baumhover was diagnosed with PTSD. He now has a very hard time whenever he sees 2 little girls, and had to make a traumatic exit from a restaurant when he spotted a couple of kids that resembled Bella and Cece. The case even altered his career path, and he could no longer go work for the CBI. Agent Tammy Lee lost her composure and broke down in tears while at a hair salon, and District Attorney Michael Rourke began having nightmares about oil tanks. The men and women involved in this case that took part in the recovery of their bodies will never be the same. Even the public, us, me and you, are traumatized from this tragedy. The shock of his confession, the way Chris smothered and disposed of his family, the unexpected way this case was resolved. A few short months later, he was sentenced and locked away, without any explanation or statement from Chris at his sentencing. We were all just left watching in disbelief, anger, and confusion. A picture of Shanann, Cece, and Bella on every TV on the planet, with the words pregnant rolling across the screen. The interviews, the lies, the lack of empathy by the Watts family, the recorded jailhouse visits. When we thought things couldn't get any worse, we find out about Nichol Kessinger and her lies and deceptive actions leading up to her decision to change her identity and disappear. A lot of us were on the fence about her, but as more information was released about her statements and cell phone records, we couldn't help but to wonder why she wasn't charged with at least obstructing justice. It's not even that she had an affair with a married man either, although pretty low and disgusting. I mean, it happens. Chris could have stayed faithful. It's how calculated and intentional she was in securing a relationship with Chris, knowing he had a pregnant wife and kids that he went home to every night, and all the trouble and research she did to get what she wanted. She obviously had her eyes on him for quite some time, probably even asked the other co-workers about him. I'm sure someone there at Anadarko told her he was a happily married man, which makes her very scary and dangerous. The lies during her interviews, it's like she planned this all the way. She stalked Shanann, the family, and destroyed them. When two people work together or at the same place, it's very easy to obtain information about a coworker. Her cell phone analysis spoke volumes about who Nichol really is. The fake cry when Nichol is informed about Chris's confession, and the scary fact that she was literally stalking the Watts family for a long time. That shit is creepy, and because of it, the case has had a profound impact on her life. Nichol has received numerous threats and had to change her identity to escape the relentless harassment. So now she left herself open for discussion. She told one lie after another, and we all ask why. Was she involved in some way? I think a person doesn't lie and hide if there's nothing to lie and hide about. It doesn't matter where you hide or what you call yourself these days. We will always know what you are. Someone asked me what I would say to her if I ever saw her in public, or if she ever decided to track me down for making videos about her. And it wouldn't be too much, but I'd tell her, I say to you, you can change your name, you can change your location, you can change your appearance, but no matter how hard you try to become someone else, your soul will always be yours. You still have to wake up every morning and face those demons. Look yourself in the mirror, know what you've done. One day, we all have to answer for our sins. Until then, there's karma.
He lied to me. It just hurt. Like, I had never felt like he'd ever lied to me before. And it was a big lie. I mean, telling somebody that you're in the midst of a divorce and then you have a wife that has a 15-week-old baby on the way is a huge, huge thing. And I was very taken back, and it was hurt. And so at that point, I deleted it. I had a few more quick things to say to him, and then I just got rid of him.
Whatever you choose to believe, whether you think NK is innocent or guilty, she is still a major reason for why this happened. Innocent people do not go through all that trouble to delete and hide messages, photos, or videos. She never said she was sorry. She only denied, deflected, and distanced herself from everything, putting the blame solely on Chris. The same way she researched and destroyed a family, she began to research ways to profit from this tragedy, Google searching old cases and outcomes in hopes to maybe get a book deal, trying to capitalize on this tragedy for financial gain. Co-workers at Anadarko say NK was very outgoing and flirtatious. Men usually avoided her and probably knew she was bad news. Chris, unfortunately, wasn't very experienced with women and didn't have a chance once Nichol got her claws in him. Nichol was envious of Shanannwatts. Taking Shanann's husband wasn't enough for her. She wanted her life, the house, the kids, and her first son. I know this case is old news. This week marks the 5-year anniversary, and there are a lot of things about the case that still don't sit well with many of us. Revisiting the case is tough. It still haunts us all because we will never understand it. A young couple with a seemingly happy life, with beautiful children, both thriving in their careers, a big beautiful house, beautiful wife. I'll just never understand it. The Rusiks stated NK is innocent. Frankie has talked about it on his YouTube channel and stated, no one has to like her, I never will, but NK is innocent, period. Sandy jumped on Frankie's chat live and also voiced her opinion and said, and I quote, I know you all are angry. Put yourself in our shoes. You can't blame innocent people for no reason. I believe the FBI and CBI and the police department did their jobs well, end quote. For the Rusiks to come out and voice their opinion must have been very hard, considering NK was a big part of why Chris did what he did. People will always hate her. Many of us believe she had her hands in because of her lies, and that's probably never going to change. Chris Lee Watts rots in prison. He has many fans for some sick reason. Folks need to understand that this baby killer is dangerous. I truly believe in a higher power. They say the Lord works in mysterious ways. I believe the devil does too. He states Shanann and the girls come to see him every night. He talks to them. One day, they will stop coming to visit him in prison. One day, he will have to pay for his sins.